In Norse mythology, the world is represented as a flat disk. Said disk is located in the branches of the world tree Yggdrasil, which held the 9 worlds. Various creatures inhabited it, among which we highlight the following. A dragon called Nidhogg that lived in the roots. This dragon gnawed at the roots to bring down an unnamed eagle that lived on the highest branch, and from there it watches over the 9 worlds. This in turn has a falcon called Vedrafolnir between the eyebrows, which watches over the eagle's movements. In addition, there is a squirrel named Ratatosk that runs from the roots to the top, carrying false news from the dragon to the eagle, and vice versa, thus sowing discord between them. The world of Norse mythology is full of incredible creatures and fascinating stories, but today we will focus on getting to know 12 of the gods of that world a little better. And as far as the intro goes, sign up and hit the subscribe button. 1. Freyr. Freyr of the Vanir tribe was a Norse god of peace and prosperity. Among other things, he was associated with masculine virility, the sun, and fair weather. Freyr, often depicted with a huge phallus, was worshipped throughout Scandinavia, particularly Sweden, where he was celebrated at weddings and harvest festivals. Along with his twin sister Freyja, Freyr was among the foremost Vanir deities. A man of many magical possessions, Freyr commanded Skidbladnir, a ship forged in the furnaces of Svartalfheim by the dwarf craftsmen Brokkr and Sindri. Freyr was also accompanied by another of Brokkr and Sindri's creations, the mechanical Gullinbursti boar. The boar had a golden mane and bristles that glowed in the deepest gloom. Finally, Freyr wielded a sword that had the ability to fight on its own. The loss of this weapon would ultimately contribute to his demise during Ragnarok. Freyr ruled over Alfheimr, a kingdom of the Light Elves. Like Freyr, the Light Elves were known for their peace and goodness. 2. Loki. The great trickster god of the Norse pantheon, Loki was a devious deity known for his many schemes and deceptions. A shapeshifter, Loki's transformations were as varied as the motives for his pranks, which included wealth, women, wisdom, or just pure pleasure. At various times he took the form of a salmon, a flea, a fly, and a mare. With Loki, appearances were never what they seemed. While his antics frequently got the gods into sticky situations, his tricks often rescued them from hard times as well. Where Thor, Freyja, and even Odin strove to enforce a just order among the gods, Loki's erratic behavior called into question the very nature of his loyalties. Loki married the goddess Sigyn, about whom little is known except that by Loki he had a son named Nari, or Narfi. Loki also bred with his lover Angerboda, a Jotun, possibly a troll, who gave birth to 3 children: Hel, who ruled the eponymous underworld called Hel, Jormungandr, the Midgard sea serpent, and Thor's archenemy, and Fenrir, the huge wolf destined to kill Odin during Ragnarok. 3. Nerthus. Worshipped in Scandinavia and the Germanic territories, Nerthus was a dark goddess associated with peace and prosperity. She was related to Njord, the Norse god of the sea, although whether they were consorts or separate incarnations of the same deity is unclear. Known as the bringer of peace, Nerthus was honored during a ritual wagon procession. During this ceremony, the goddess's priests would drive a chariot covered in her sacred cloth through Germanic villages, causing the inhabitants to lay down their weapons and embrace each other in celebration. While little is known about Nerthus outside of this ritual, she was thought to reside in her sacred grove on an as-yet unidentified island. 4. Thor. A paragon of masculine strength and virility, the storm god Thor was the fiercest of the Norse deities. Among his many abilities, Thor commanded storms and rain and brought lightning and thunder. Due to his prodigious sexual drive and his ability to impregnate women, Thor was also associated with fertility. He wielded a warhammer called Mjolnir and was thought to have red hair and a red beard. Brave, powerful, and just, Thor fully embodied the hero archetype. Where Odin and Loki prowled and schemed, Thor faced his troubles with hammer in hand and violence in his heart. Whenever a fearsome beast or cunning Jotun threatened his peace, the gods usually called on Thor to intervene. 5. Heimdall. Heimdall the Watcher was a Norse deity of the Aesir tribe, a god of keen eyesight and hearing who was ready to sound the Jallarhorn at the start of Ragnarok. From the little evidence that has survived, Heimdall appears to have been a protector of the deities and a guardian of the passages to and from the 9 realms. Because of his supposed role of granting wisdom and social order, he was also considered the father and protector of human beings. He could see night as if it were day, and could spot a target from 100 leagues away. Furthermore, it was said that his sense of hearing was so acute that he could hear the grass grow and the wool of the sheep sprout. 6. Baldur of the Aesir tribe was the most beautiful and beloved of all the gods in the Norse pantheon. Baldur radiated charm and was so physically beautiful that he gave off light. He was also described as the wisest of all the gods. As an arbiter of disputes, he settled disputes between gods and men. Baldur's death as a result of Loki's betrayal was one of the central stories in Norse mythology. Baldur's main attributes were his justice, beauty, and sympathy. He owned a large ship called the Hringhorni, meaning ship with a circle on its stern, which was said to be the largest ship ever built. After Baldur's death, the ship became a huge funeral pyre for his body. 7. Frigg. As the wife of Odin, Frigg was the undisputed queen of the Norse gods. Frigg was often depicted sitting on a throne or in a commanding pose. Frigg lived in Fensalir, a watery realm that probably took the form of a swamp, marsh, or wetland. Frigg had power over many areas of life and was associated with fertility, marriage and the home, love and sexuality, wisdom and prophecy. Frigg was a vulva, or practitioner of the magical art of Seder, and she sought to divine or alter the future through ritual. 8. Tyr. The one-armed god of the Norse pantheon, Tyr was a member of the Aesir tribe who represented war and bloodshed. Somewhat paradoxically, he was also known as a bringer of justice and order. The most detailed description of the god was derived from the Gylfaginning, a book of the prose Edda by the 13th century Icelandic scholar Snorri Sturluson. Tyr's most notable attribute was his missing right hand, or arm, usually depicted as being severed at the wrist or forearm. This missing limb had been eaten by Fenrir, the ravenous giant wolf sired by Loki and the Jotun Angerboda. 9. Njord. The Norse god of wind and waters, Njord was the patron of sailors and fishermen. He also brought wealth to the just and deserving. As patriarch of the Vanir deities, Njord led his tribe against the Aesir gods during the Aesir-Vanir War. If you are interested in knowing more about this war between the Norse gods, leave it to me in the comments below, and we may make a video in the future. He would later join the Aesir as part of a peace deal. Njord was a popular god among the Norse, and sailors in particular. Those who worshipped him did so in the hope of receiving the reward of the seas. In Norway, the center of Njord's cult, locals continued to offer prayers to him well into the 18th century. As befits his status as the god of the wind and the waters and master of the destinies of the fishermen, some scholars maintain that Njord lived on the sea, in a kingdom known as Noatun. 10. Idun. The lovely and charming Idun was a Norse goddess of youth and fertility. Idun had the power to grant eternal youth and prevent old age. Her magical apples imparted the gift of youth to those who ate them. She played a key role in Norse myths, rejuvenating the gods by giving them magical apples that reversed the effects of aging. Whenever the Norse gods began to feel the effects of aging, they turned to her. She carried her apples in a box made of ash called an eski. Along with her fruit, this box served as one of her main symbols. 11. Freyja. One of the main deities of the Norse pantheon, the lovely Freyja was a goddess of blessings, love, lust, and fertility. A member of the Vanir tribe of deities, Freyja shared her people's penchant for the magical arts of divination. Freyja was kinder and nicer than the other Norse deities, where Thor achieved her goals through aggression, and Odin and Loki resorted to deceit. Freyja achieved her ends with the softer persuasions of gifts, beauty, and sex. While Freyja used to be selfless and helpful, she had a darker side. Like the male gods, Freyja had a taste for blood and fought fiercely in battle. It was said that she claimed the lives of half the warriors killed in battle. Freyja was recognized as the archetypal vulva, a practitioner of cider, whose art and ritual could see events before they happened. The vulva could then attempt to alter these events, leading enemies to their doom and sparing friends from impending disaster. And before seeing the last of the Norse gods on the list, subscribe to the channel, and if you are liking the top, give it a good like. 12. Odin. As the total father and chief god of the diverse Norse pantheon, Odin figured prominently in all core mythological traditions, from the creation of the first humans and the Aesir-Vanir war that united the gods into a single pantheon, to the Ragnarok prophecies that mark the end of time. Odin's main attributes were his wit, cunning, and wisdom. Having cultivated the magical arts of Seder, the set of rituals that allow foresight, Odin was able to see the future and commune with the spirits and the dead. He was also a shapeshifter who could take the form of snakes, eagles, and other powerful creatures. Additionally, Odin spoke in poetic verse and had the power to charm humans into committing acts out of character.
Pick up that coffee. Throw it in your face.
Odin was often depicted with a staff or spear, but otherwise wielded no specific weapons. On multiple occasions, he consulted with Mimir's severed and embalmed head, which revealed many secrets to him.